I'm so thirsty. I made the horrible decision of drinking out of a fountain at work, which nobody ever does. Because nobody ever drinks from it, it's never cleaned. And when I drank from it, I swear something that was on it went right in my mouth and I swallowed it. Some weird shit. And I was like, oh, it better not have been a maggot or something, but it's definitely not a maggot. It's worse. Just thinking about it, I'm like, what if it's like something bad and I ate it? Ugh. It was horrible. I'm so thirsty. did get coffee, but I wanted something to drink first, but I guess I'll just burn my tongue just to distract myself. I think I'm used to burning my tongue because it doesn't really hurt. I'm parked next to Dunkin' because it's actually pretty nice today. It's raining and I turned off the windshield wipers so it's like more covered up on this part mainly, and it feels good. It's like nobody can see me. I love being hidden, but like still being able to see what's going on around me. I did want to talk about self-hatred, but I don't know. I feel like it's always the same thing, like every time I look up how to stop hating myself, because it's just natural. And that is why we end up going through like all this other stuff. I just think it's always the same, like seek therapy and I don't know, learning to love yourself. And it's so cheesy. I just can't. It's just so far fetched to me to try to value myself when it's like if the people that said they loved me the most could not value me, how can I value myself when I've always hated myself? You know what I mean? Like, I've despised myself for so long. And I think that last year was the first year that I stopped hating myself so strongly. Like, I consistently growing up, the voice in our head. Well, I have multiple, which is probably a bad thing, but they all have their own personality and shit. But they all hated me, mainly, at least most of them. There is, if you're bilingual, maybe you'll understand what I'm coming from, or I'm just crazy, but I have a Mexican Spanish speaking voice and an American English speaking one. And because I learned Spanish first, so I had a personality and then it kind of switched to a different personality. It's a mix. So it's kind of strange. I don't know if any of you have that too with your second language, but my Spanish conscience is my mom's voice, but mixed with me. So it's like, it sounds like it's my mom, but it's not really my mom. And I know that now, but as a child, it it was just like I just felt like it was my mom, but it's definitely not her because this voice it's me. It's kind of like the whole Harry Potter thing when he thought his dad was saving him from the Dementors with a deer, but it was always just him from the future or whatever. It's kind of like that. That's what it reminds me of, or at least the closest connection, because it was never really my mom. It sounded like her just because my mom speaks Spanish. So I thought it was always her, and then I started to realize it was always just me because it was very anxious. My Spanish like voice is very anxious all the time. And it didn't hate me because my mom never like straight up hated me. She was very critical, but not in a hate, like I didn't feel like she hated me. I think she misunderstood me a lot growing up. And my dad, I did feel like he didn't like me, so that's why it's like it really comes from like you have to find out where your self-hatred kind of started. And I think it did start with my parents, because overly critical, and then somebody else who's also overly critical but also judgmental in the most negative way doesn't help a growing child be positive. And in a way, I'm not trying to say my parents are horrible people. They did the best they could with what they had, and they didn't have much. So, and they were in survival mode. So obviously, internally, I was always going to be in survival mode. I didn't know anything else, because when you're taught by somebody that the world is a cold, harsh place, that's what you're going to believe, and it's going to be hard to not believe that. It's kind of like that. So my mom and dad didn't really care about mental health and raising a child that care doesn't hate themselves. Basically, that wasn't their priority. Their priority was survival, literal physical survival. It's mainly just me trying to analyze why I hate myself so much or why I hated myself for so long. And I didn't realize it was a problem until I became a teenager and other people, I made friends and they didn't hate themselves. And I thought that was so weird. It's like how, and I would make jokes about it. And people say that all the time. Behind every joke, there's a truth. And there was a truth when I would talk down to myself. And I do that still. I think it's also very connected to my generation where millennials say this type of shit. And I'm pretty sure some Gen Zers say it too, but it's not, it comes off awkward. I've noticed that when people believe it because they know me, they get uncomfortable. They don't see it as funny anymore. That's why it's like I need to kind of stop because it starts to be like, oh, and I've never done it where I want people to be like, oh, don't say that, or no, you're not, fishing for compliments. It's never been for that reason. It's more of like a diffusing the tension I have with myself, trying to kind of accept the fact that yes, I do hate myself. Let's move on. It's almost like when you say something about yourself, you call it out so nobody else will call it out because you already did. It's kind of like that. But knowing where that self-hatred came from and kind of accepting and being like, okay, yes, my childhood was shit and it could have been better and all this stuff, it kind of helps detangle this weird like cable or thread to kind of organize it and find where I can kind of trim it and put the bad down, the self-hatred, because I don't think I'm willing to say I love myself because that's really cheesy, but at least I'm not no longer willing to say completely that I hate myself. I am not my own worst enemy, and I've been saying this to my siblings a lot randomly. Like I'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, I wanted to do this, I was stressing out about this specific task, and little did I know that I had already done it because I knew I would stress out about it. And it's almost like my past is friends with my future, and I love that. And I keep saying that because I grew up being someone that wants to help, like I always wanted to be somebody's right hand. Like I feel like I am not the main character, but I could possibly be a really good side character or main character's friend that helps them through the adventure. And I try to do this with people in my life. It felt like I just they didn't really need me. People don't really need me. I got old quick, and I feel like I was at Toy Story Toy Left Behind, and it was time for me to get up and be my own friend. And I've heard a lot of tips over the years of how to stop hating myself, and the biggest one was kind of acting as if when I talk to myself and I'm hating on myself, I have to pause and pretend that I'm talking to a friend. Would I really say all this stuff? Anybody, even like my worst enemy, I would not say all this stuff. So that's kind of my cue to be like, I need to stop. This is too much. Nobody deserves this much. Because I guess what I learned from around me, I thought that if I continued the verbal abuse that I heard, even if it was just once, if I grabbed it and I echoed it to myself when somebody had already said it to me, if I echoed it to myself over and over again, it would lose its meaning, or I would get a grip, it would hurt so much, and it would change me, and it would build my resilience. But it's wrong. It doesn't build resilience. It actually makes it worse. So, which obviously it did, because I ended up having an eating disorder and just other, like a lot of other random problems. Like my anxiety would be so bad, and I just thought it was weakness. Like I never just let myself feel like, yeah, this isn't normal and it's not your fault. Like even just saying that constantly. Another example is that recently happened to me was when I think you guys remember this, I had really bad acne because of, I think it was my birth control. Now it's expired, so my skin's pretty much clear, but I had really bad acne because of my birth control, and I kept blaming myself. I kept saying, I'm just disgusting, I just can't get a grip, I'm just not doing enough. And I kept blaming myself. Right after, I started to get kind of a little bit trying to find a way around it and accepting the fact that, okay, so I just have acne all over my face and there's nothing I can do with it. I'm just going to accept it. When that happened, it felt freeing, but also slowly stopped, like it expired, and now I don't really get acne. It's very rare. I do have scarring like on the side, but I don't have any acne anymore because it was my birth control, which was not my fault. It's actually a very normal reaction. A lot of people I've I went on like a spiral to investigate. If you have the thing in your arm or even any birth control, make sure you investigate the side effects because we're so quick to blame ourselves. Like I was blaming myself, and people around me also blamed. Like I would complain about it and vent, and strangers would be like, "Oh, you should just wash your face and drink water and blah blah blah." It's like it's not that easy. I finally figured out that it was that because now that it's expired, no acne, nothing. I had already stopped blaming myself at this point and I moved on. I was just like minding my business. I was at work one day and one of my favorite managers, one of the only, I think I have like three that I like, but she was, what should I call her? I'm gonna call her Gemini because that's her horoscope. So, Gemini, one of my favorite leads, she's going through a lot of like acne problems that I've noticed. And the reason I bring this up is because I feel like I understand what she's feeling because she is dealing with it in a way where I was too. She is having like she had clear skin and then randomly like over time it started to get pretty bad and I just feel like it might be like if she's on birth control. I don't want to tell her because it's not my place. But the second I saw her face and I saw that it was kind of like mine when it was really bad, I right away thought I want to tell her that it's because somebody made a really mean comment about her face. Like it pissed me off, but I wasn't around. I just heard about it. I wanted to go up to her and say, "Your your skin is not your fault." And I wanted to say it in front of the person who made a comment. Like that is not your fault. The person who thinks your skin reacting like this is based off of your actions is a dumbass. To think people's skin or like stuff like that is within their control completely is bullshit. It's stupid. And I wanted to just reassure her that there's nothing you can do. It's beyond your control. A lot of the things, it's a reaction and the body is, an intense thing. A lot of things are not within our control, especially something so complicated. The fact that I wanted to do that to her, but I was quick to blaming myself, made me realize, yeah, I do still hate myself. I still, it was only like maybe 2 years where like my 2 years ago where my skin was pretty bad, but even then I didn't accept completely the fact that there was nothing I could do about it, but wait it out or get rid of my birth control or whatever. And there's so much with women, it's even more complicated because of, our period and our stress levels, everything affects our, skin. And even during those times with your period or whatever, it's one or two are bound to show up or more than that. So it's like to blame somebody or to call somebody out and call them names over something they have no control, it's bullshit. And I just wanted to reassure her that it was not her fault, but I wasn't able to have that much compassion or care for myself. And by the way, she's a complete stranger. I just like the way she manages us and guides us. She's not like a boss, she's a leader. And that's why I value her so much. There's a person over here and it's awkward. It's kind of like that. Like I want to do that more often to myself. I want to act like, okay, if this was somebody else, would you really say that? Wouldn't you like obviously I would give another person, anybody, a stranger, even my biggest enemy, I would give them more grace than I give myself, and it's not fair. And I feel like a lot of us do that to ourselves too. When we do something, when we make one little mistake, it's like we're pieces of shit. I at least definitely call myself every name in the book. And like for example, even my brothers were there when it was funny because I didn't expect myself to do that, but I swear a lot in Spanish. I didn't realize that. I say everything, every bad word. In English, I don't say a lot of bad words. Like I don't say boy part, girl part, and I don't say the F word. I just say freaking because it just feels weird. But in Spanish, I don't care. I swear all the time. And I didn't realize that until my dad caught me. And then I just thought it was funny seeing his reaction. But my brother had got food for everybody and I started eating it. When I was eating it, I completely missed my mouth and spilled a little bit like on back down, and they saw that and I was embarrassed and I said que puta, slut shame myself for missing my mouth, and we all burst out laughing because I'm like, wait, why did I say that? And it's like so quick. When anybody else would have done it, I wouldn't have called them anything. And it's just as simple as that. Like everything's tweaked to where it's like there is no room for me to make mistakes or anything, but everybody else has, I have all the patience for. And it, or like I excuse them, justify, I find ways. And it's like, why can't I have that for myself too? It's just really, I don't know what it is, but it's a very long time before I can kind of like not say this stuff to myself. Even just, I do try not to do it out loud, but in my head, I'm doing it constantly. And it's really annoying because it's so adamant. Like if I don't do something right, right away I say, I'm useless, I'm useless, I'm useless. But it's like, I have to kind of like relearn to my brain. It's like, dude, if I didn't make the trash that I threw in the can, it doesn't mean I'm useless. It just means that my aim's shit. I don't know, like if somebody doesn't make it, they just didn't make it. Like it doesn't have to be a whole thing. And it's so difficult to like justify myself, you know? That's why I'm constantly hoping nobody else says what I say to myself to me, because it's like, damn, now you're just kind of approving what I feel like I didn't want to be true. Because part of me is also like, it's not true, it's not true. Because it hurts, you know, it hurts to say these stuff to myself and constantly think I'm not good enough, I will never be good enough. And it's even worse when you grew up in a misogynistic like Mexican household where everybody roasted you and you were also lessened just because of your gender. I remember I broke down with my sister because I got my car stuck in snow and I told her like, dude, I am not helping women like get out of this stereotype of car shit. When it's like, how many times have I like, stopped the car or prevented an accident? You know, when that happens, when there's like something's going on and you stop the car and you're like, oh my god, I made the right decision in very little, like in a split second, my fight or flight kicked in and made the right decision. I don't give myself credit for that, but when something bad happens, I make sure I tear myself apart. So hard, but like I think starting off slowly, because some shit is super cheesy. Like for example, some people were saying they put post-it notes and call themselves beautiful on their mirror, and I'm like, I will cringe every day. I cannot do that. That's so embarrassing. Even just thinking about it, I'm like, oh dude, that's so gross. Maybe I could put something, a note on the mirror that said like, you're not beautiful, but you're not ugly. Something believable. I had a sociology class a long time ago in high school that in order there's like an art to complimenting people, and I think this goes for yourself too. This is why like you have to make, like when you compliment somebody, it has to be something they kind of agree with, like not so far off, and it has to be something you're genuinely impressed by, so it like aligns perfectly. So for example, like if somebody said, oh my gosh, you're like the most beautifulest person I've ever seen in my life, you're not gonna believe it because it's like, okay, first of all, there are so many beautiful people in the world, like that's really awkward, it doesn't feel genuine. Whereas if they said, wow, you're like the most attractive person I've seen all day, you're kind of like, oh shit, that's crazy. You went to the zoo? No, I'm just kidding. See, it's so quick. Damn it. I'm doing it already. I'm just yapping. I'm just kidding. I'm so tired. All I do is talk, dude. I need to shut the hell up. I've been quiet all day at work, and that's why I'm talking so much, but I need to drink this shit. I think I have to slowly kind of detach from self-hatred. What are you guys gonna do? Because we all have to do it. You know that, right? We have to do it. Because guess what? Self-hatred leads to an ed. So if you have an ed, or if you have any unhealthy habits or coping strategies that are pretty bad for you in the long run, it stems from not valuing yourself enough. Because a person that values themselves enough doesn't do this stuff to themselves. They don't self-sabotage or damage themselves with destructive behaviors. So that's why fixing all the way down, you know, like to the root basically of of your tree, and you have to fix the freaking, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I kind of have to go all the way to figure out how to completely make it impossible to ever develop an ed, because it's just it's 2024, you know. Hating yourself gets old pretty quickly. It's not trendy, and I just don't want to be that person that victimizes themselves. I just don't like that, where it's like, oh, I hate myself and everything sucks, even though it's really hard, because I do believe everything sucks most of the time. I'm a pessimist. Like, I'm a pessimist. I don't want to be an octopus. No, I'm just kidding. What is it? Optimistic. I don't want to be like optimistic to the point where I'm ignorant and naive, but I don't want to be a pessimist to the point where everything's dreadful and I'm just like this blob of sadness all the time. I want to be somewhere where it's like realistic, because neither one of them are, it's not real. And I just don't want to be this person that lives through this lens of bullshit, whatever bullshit it is, whether it's this way or that way. It's like, no, I just want one that's like not clouding me completely, because it's kind of sucks living like that. And another thing I've started doing is kind of being grateful for things. It's kind of hard because it's like I'm such a brat. Like, I'm always like, this sucks, this sucks. I've been trying to kind of remember everything I didn't have, and now I do. Like, constipation, I have that. No, I'm just kidding. Diarrhea and constipation, and it's whichever one is the most inconvenient to have. That's the one I have. So that's fun. But yeah, I try to be grateful about that, even. No, but I'm grateful that just like common things, like I really like my car. I always tell myself, like, dude, I used to have a shit car that I would always break down all the time. Like, I've had this car for like, I think 3 years or 4 years, and it has not, okay, maybe one time, but it didn't stop me from driving it. So I don't count it. So this car's not left me on the side of the road, abandoned, waiting for help, not once in the 4 years I've had it. My other car, oh my gosh, dude, I've had so many issues with the car. So I'm always like I'm always like acariciaring it. Like, what do you say? Like, touching it like this, like, oh yes. And also, I have a cat that I've always wanted all my life. Arias is super cute. He's such a good cat. Although sometimes, because I'm a natural pessimist, I'll start to cry because I keep thinking like he's not like forever, you know, and I need him forever. So I keep thinking like, could I die first? Just because I don't want to live through his death. When he dies, a big part of me is gonna die. So that's why I'm like, I already feel not whole yet, you know? So it's like to lose something so important. That's why it's like, see, I'm already focusing on the bad, but I hate doing that. But yeah, Arias is super cute. It's a pet I always wanted. I think in another life or maybe he was supposed to be my human child, but I'm not gonna have children, so whoever, God, destiny, whoever it is, was like, sorry dude, you're gonna have to be your cat, because that's all she's willing to have. But he's so perfect, and that's probably why he hates me, because he glares at me sometimes. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I just don't want to have children, dude, and being a cat isn't that bad. So maybe I'll be a cat for him in another life. So my cat was stolen years ago. It was stolen by a neighbor, and I just thought I would never see him again. And then one day he came back, and I was so happy. So I'm always grateful that he is still with me and not stolen or, ran over. Good thing he doesn't go outside at all anymore. He's never going outside. I feel bad because it's like I'm taking his freedom, but that's what happens when you're cute. No, I'm just kidding. Grateful for coffee. Dude, coffee's so freaking good. It makes me happy. Sometimes I'm like, damn, life really sucks. But then I think about Dunkin' and coffee, because it's more sugar than coffee, which is, oh my god, there's a police over there. Honestly, I'm grateful for living in this generation, because I would not survive in a generation where there's no like social media. I know everybody says all the time that, oh, get off social media, it's so toxic, blah blah blah. But dude, I was born to live in a time when social media was a thing. I'm gonna leave because there's a bunch of freaking cars coming around, and I will keep talking and won't shut up. I try to focus on things I'm grateful for. You guys should let me know what you guys do to stop self-hatred. I try to stop calling myself names and things like that. I try to stop it. Like, I'll catch myself and I'm like, oh, I can't do that anymore. It's not cool, you know? Also, a big thing is self-care. Caring about myself helps too. Like, I really like to do my skincare, like nails. Even though it gets to be a chore sometimes, I like spending time with myself and caring for myself. Like, when I'm working, I get a lot of hangnails from like moving shit around and organizing. As you can see, I know I need new gloves, but they're just gonna keep ripping, so that's what's annoying. If I don't have gloves on while I'm working, my fingers will receive the rips that my gloves have. So, well, obviously my fingers are stronger, but I have a bunch of hangnails after working, so I like to fix them up, fix my hands. It feels so nice to like care about yourself, you know. All the time I've spent damaging myself has shifted towards like building myself or like caring for myself. Thing is, it's like naturally I'm somebody who cares just in general. Like, I like to heal, not hurt. So nice to see it, do it for myself and not feel guilty. Sometimes I'm like, even I think of it, sometimes I see somebody with dry feet and I'm like, I want to fix their cracked feet or anything. A scalp massage. Like, sometimes the cats will get on my lap and like, I should give them a scalp massage because they can, they can benefit from it too. Or I should brush their fur and all this stuff. It's like constantly caring for like anything. So when you shift it towards yourself, it feels so nice, because sometimes when you have other people around or creatures, you're like, I can't waste it on myself. I have to care for them. That's what's like, I cannot have kids because they're gonna be my obsession. I will want them to be happy all the time, and it's like, no. And like, their emotions would be my emotions. Oh my freaking god, no. Nope. I'm like codependent still, so it's not a good thing. I guess it's like meant to be that way for their survival sake, so that's how it kind of helps them, but it does not help me, because then it's like I lose my identity. But yeah, dude, I kind of want a dog though. It'd be so nice. Oh, this little crow needs to get out of the way. Birds are kind of dumb, dude. They really trust the cars. They get in the way while you're driving. It's like, dude, I guess like internal work is one thing. I talk to you guys and that kind of helps me, but therapy too. But I don't know. Sometimes therapy can get kind of annoying because like finding somebody that works well with you is so difficult. Unless I'm not like hurting myself anymore. I think that's a start. I think another thing is like focusing on the things you do good instead of the things you do badly. Like, try to find ways to be proud of yourself every day, instead of like finding ways why you failed or some bullshit. To find reasons why today was a good day, you focus on the good instead of the bad, which is difficult to do, especially when you're not used to it, but it actually makes you feel so much better that you can get addicted to it. Like, I always tell my mom I'm sad. Like, I try to make it a thing where it's like I let people feel like they can vent to me, because it's not fair to always force people to be happy, but I try to let them feel like they can vent to me about anything. Complain all you want. And then when you're kind of bored and you look tired of it, then that's when I start trying to make them laugh and like trying to end on a good note, like trying to be grateful for the things we all have. Like, I always bring up the fact that we all have our own bathroom and we still get to be around each other. Because, oh my gosh, dude, my digestive issues are so bad that I would hate to have to share a bathroom again. I shared a bathroom for like 21 years. I shared a bathroom with like 6 people. And I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed IBS or some bullshit, but I don't know. And today I almost shit myself at work. I was this close to almost shitting myself at work. It was crazy. I literally thought, I'm like, it's today. Today's the day. I'm going to shit myself. And I was like, I'm just not emotionally prepared for this. Like, I knew it was coming, but I just didn't know it was going to be today, a Friday, or not a Friday, a Sunday, Friday. No, Saturday. Sorry. My days are like all mixed up. I get Saturday and Sunday mixed up really badly. I don't know why. But I really thought I was going to shit myself today. And I got the contraction while I was working. I'm like, oh no. Like, I'm literally, because I kept ignoring my stomach. I'm just like, no, we can wait till we get home so we can take our time and have fun. But it was not having it. It was like, no, I want to shit at work where it's inconvenient. So I was like, no, dude, we're not going to shit here. And it just gave me the biggest contraction. I almost cried. Like, that's how bad, because I'm like, I don't want to shit myself. Everyone's going to, like, well, my manager, I had another manager I like. I don't want her to smell it, like, can it happen with a manager I don't like? Shit, dude. But anyways, I made it to the bathroom and I had to poop. I feel so bad for the janitors. I'm pretty sure they know that it's me who it's probably me who like who stinks. Cause I shit, dude, I swear, when you shit when you're stressed, it just smells so much worse. And it sucks, but this day I did poop. And you know what's weird? It's like when I go to the bathroom at home, it's little tiny pathetic poops. It looks like a rabbit did it. But when it's somewhere else, anywhere, especially the most embarrassing places, all of a sudden I can poop the biggest, like, shit ever. Like, all of a sudden I have a normal bowel movement and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Makes no sense. But if you know what's going on, please feel free to let me know, because what the heck. I wish I could like poop normally at home. It's so much more comfortable. I love pooping. It's such a good experience. That's why it's like my little brother told me a disease that you have to have like a little baggie outside, and you don't, and he's like, dude, but you never shit again, and he looked happy about that. But I like pooping, so that would suck to have, like, although, I mean, it would be nice if you don't ever have to have those panic attacks where it's like, I'm gonna shit myself right here, right now. Sometimes I'm like, should I just wear a diaper just in case? Because I'm just so convinced I'm gonna shit myself. You guys know this, like, I've talked about it multiple times. One day, I'm going to shit myself in public, because the worst part is when I'm laughing, I pee my pants. And if I laugh, like if I have a laugh attack, I will first pee myself and then I'll shit myself. I have yet to get to the shitting part, because every time I pee my pants, it doesn't happen a lot, okay? It has been years, but when the last time I peed my pants, I got really sad because those were my favorite pants. And the sadness I felt afterwards made me so sad that I didn't shit myself. Because if I would have kept laughing, peed, I would have shit myself too. So there's some information you guys needed to know. So yeah, I have yet to shit myself at work. I am grateful for that, and I'm proud of myself. You guys should be proud of me too. But I'm gonna try to shift it from something miserable to something funny, because it would be a great story that I could tell to anybody really about the time I shit myself at work. So I mean, I could tell you guys if I do shit myself at work. So it's not all bad. That way I'm not so miserable about it all. But yeah, I'm gonna go because I've been talking for freaking ever. I'm so sorry. I'll let you get to work or whatever you guys have to do. Let me know, where are you guys? I'm nosy, and I gotta know where you guys are at so I can, like, follow you. No, I'm just kidding.